So today we're doing pumpkins, as you can tell. Pumpkins, just like eggs, are an excellent round object to teach depth and contours, and it's fall. The first day of fall was yesterday, so I figured why not. So, to get into it, I started off with this like bean-shaped blob, and yeah, this is just like one coat of orange, so I'm gonna go in and just start blending. And like most things on a black background, it's best to use 2 coats of oil just to really get that depth, but I figured I'd start off with 1 just to show you the difference in what it looks like. So if you're wondering about the hat, it is from the Half Moon Bay Pumpkin Festival, and there's this booth that's there every year, and they sell all sorts of hats, but they mainly sell these. And every year you'll see people like walking around with these hats, and it's so funny. It's like the last booth you have to walk. Like if none of you have been to the Half Moon Bay Pumpkin Festival, it's like the largest pumpkin festival ever, and it's in this small town called Half Moon Bay, which is like halfway between Palo Alto and San Francisco, and it's amazing and wonderful, and I highly recommend you go. And definitely fostered my love of pumpkins. So here's the first coat. As you can see, it's hot outside, so it's a little waxy, a little melty. So I'm gonna go in with the second coat and just really try to get that bright orange. When I was in a painting class, I learned that like an excellent skill to teach you how to paint and to figure out what colors to use are like, you basically paint something like an apple or a banana, and you try to use paints that are colors that you don't see in the actual banana. So like to paint an apple that's red without using the colors red is like really difficult, and it sounds like a dumb premise at first, but it's really useful because it teaches you how to paint shadows. So you end up using a lot of like dark blues and purples for the shadows, and then light pinks and oranges for the top of the fruit. But one thing I've always found super hard is to paint an orange object without using orange. For whatever reason, it's just, orange is this like really bright, vibrant color that doesn't have, you know, a ton of variation. You get like some reds and some yellows, and that's like it. But I'm gonna try to push it a little bit to see what I can do. So now I have my shades of orange, and I'm just gonna come in and I'm gonna differentiate where I want some of the lines to go. And anyone who's drawn a pumpkin, like even as a child, knows that this is just like kind of what you do. You just like pick segments. So pretty easy, pretty straightforward. But that's the easy part. So the next thing is you have to pick where the shadows and the highlights go. So for each one of these bars, I'm gonna use that as a space. Basically what that is on a pumpkin is it's the space where you see the, like a bump coming forward receding into a, like the back part of the bump. So right on these lines it's gonna be brighter because this is like the front of a bump. And then I just use yellow, just like the lighter version of orange for the most part. I'm just coming right in and bringing in that highlight. And then what you're going to want to do behind that is immediately next to it, to bring contrast, you're going to bring in a darker color to show that there's a shadow. And I'm just going to bring in this darker color all along the bottom for the whole pumpkin to show that the light is coming from the top and this is the shadow bottom. Just really kind of get these contours in. So that's a good start. The other thing to notice is that these outer crescents, I guess I could call them, are going to be darker than the ones in the middle. And that's like a simple trick of light, is that, you know, things as they recede from your eye become darker. They don't have the same amount of light, assuming that the light is coming from the top and the front. That's just how it works. So you're gonna darken that up, but darken it up more on the bottom than on the top. So let's bring this in also bring it in. Anywhere you have a bright line, you're going to want to have a complementary shadow right behind it. So bring it back and up in here. All right, so we're starting to define the shapes and shadows and contours of the pumpkin, which is good. The next thing to do is to just come back, and there's also going to be, you know, a breakage here where this segment comes forward. So if you want to think of like this thing in the middle as like another segment of the pumpkin, then that'll help you shade it. So you're going to have it lighter on top, all the way down. And then, yeah, we can lighten kind of all of these in varying degrees. So yeah, you have some depth there. And then I'm just going to come back in and darken these shadows. So, okay. Yeah, we're getting there. I'm satisfied with that. I'm gonna bring in some more shadow right behind the bright spots, just to really, and this is a principle of drawing too, is that wherever you have a high, like if you have high contrast between lines, so you have a shadow right next to a highlight, it brings the viewer's eyes indirectly into what you're doing. So that's cool. I'm actually gonna blend out this highlight here because I don't think it's as compelling to have something that bright on the bottom. It just looks wrong to our eyes. So I'm gonna try to keep that highlight mostly to the top. Just blend it in. Yeah, that looks a lot better. So as we're continuing to highlight, I'm gonna add in just a little bit of white to show that it's a shiny pumpkin. So some bright white up here, maybe just a little. Definitely want to show that it's three-dimensional. So you just get a little bit of that, and then you can have like a little bit of an under highlight here. Sometimes on round objects you'll have light just hit in pretty unexpected ways. You just want to blend that out a little bit. Blend it out on top a little bit too. Cool. Nice. That's a successful pumpkin. I like it. I'm gonna bring in just a little bit more shadow in the back, and let's see. Maybe I want to choose a different color for the shadow, something you wouldn't expect. I'll do purple. And this is kind of what I was saying, is that if you look in paintings, you're gonna see unexpected colors everywhere if you look really close. This is a bit lighter of a purple than I expected, so definitely want to blend it out to make it look less pastel, because you don't want your shadows to be lighter than the light parts on your painting. There we go, just adds a little bit more depth. Cool. So then the last part, of course, is the stem. So we're gonna go in and do that right now really quick. Also notice that this is just like, whenever I do any of these paintings, I don't have like a pumpkin in front of me or an egg in front of me. It's just like I'm working on, you know, the platonic pumpkin, if you will. And it's like any pumpkin can look like this. So I'm laughing because my roommate just walked in. But what's good to know is that you can just use your intuition about what you think something should look like, and I would hope that half the time I'd be correct on that. Maybe not always half. But yeah, so then there's your stem. It's a little bit too bright based on the rest of the painting, so I'm just going to come in and darken it. And you're also going to want to focus on that area where the stem meets the pumpkin. And for that, we're going to need a slightly darker shade. I'm going to use black, even though I don't normally use black for these things, just because I think it'll blend well with the orange and the green. So then I'll come in on top with this tan color and just blend it out a little bit more. You want to make it look like the stem is coming out of the pumpkin, not just attached floating next to it. Cool. So that's cool. If you want to add more fun things, you can do like curly Q vines that like come out. Let's see. And that's super easy. It's literally just something fun, something tiny. Then you can come out with another one over here. Just balance it out. Cool. And there you have it. Happy little pumpkin. Thanks for watching, and there will be a new video next Tuesday, as always. Thank you.